All right, people. So, welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to this lecture series on economic survey. And today, in economic survey, we are going to move on to chapter number 4. And chapter number 4 deals with Indian economy's external sector. So, India's position vis-a-vis the rest of the world would be discussed in this chapter. Now, like every other chapter, well, this also talks about India's nice, comfortable, good position with respect to global uncertainty. The world is basically reeling under pressure, economic pressure, because of various factors. We have discussed about them, right? We have discussed about Donald Trump's tariff policy. We have discussed about geopolitical fragmentation, the wars and all. In this, amidst this geopolitical uncertainty, amidst this geoeconomic uncertainty, well, India's external position, which is judged by India's balance of payment, we'll talk about that, well, looks comfortable. It looks good. Okay. And the evidence of that fact is presented in this economic survey. All right. So this evidence has been presented in economic survey. So we are going to take a look at this evidence, right? So let's not talk anything else and straight away jump into today's lecture. All right. Okay. So let's begin. So external sector playing the long game. Okay. Now, one thing you need to know before starting this topic. Okay. Well, India's external position is judged by its balance of payment. Now, balance of payment consists of two accounts, current and capital. Okay. Basically, balance of payment keeps a track of money coming into India and money getting out of India. When money comes to India, well, it is designated with a sign plus, and when money gets out of India, it is designated with sign negative. Okay. Now, within current account, first let's talk about current account. Okay. So, within current account, well, there is trade balance. Okay. In trade balance, there is imports and exports. Naturally, when you export something, well, the money comes into your country. When you export something, when you're selling something, money is coming into your country. So it is designated with a plus sign. And when you import something, it is designated with a negative sign. Okay, this is trade balance. So it keeps a track of India's import-export. Now remember, this import-export is in goods, or as they use another name for it, merchandise. Okay, so whenever imports negative sign is heavier than exports positive sign, we say we are running a trade deficit or merchandise trade deficit. Simple. Okay. Now this deficit, India generally runs a trade deficit when it comes to goods. This deficit has to be compensated with something. Okay. Over here is services trade. In services, there is imports, there are exports, and India generally runs a surplus in services. Okay. Exports are more than imports. Then there are a few other things, but the important part is remittances. Indians working abroad sending money back home. Okay, so there are many Indians working abroad. They send money back home to India to their family members. Well, those are counted as remittances, and that money is coming into India. So plus sign. Any foreigner working in India and sending money back home to, well, any other country, that would be a negative sign. Naturally, I mean, we all know that Indians are everywhere. So our remittances account is also generally positive. Now, in the overall current account, if the positive sign is heavy, then we say we run a current account surplus. And if the negative sign is heavy, including everything, then we say that we run a current account deficit. Generally, we run a current account deficit. Why? Because our trade deficit is so huge that even the services surplus or remittances surplus fails to compensate for it completely. So we run a current account deficit. But as we'll see in this chapter, okay, our current account deficit has declined quite a lot. And that is because we have increased our exports, services surplus has increased, remittances have increased. Simple. Now, this is just one part of the equation. Okay. The other part is capital account. Okay. Now, in capital account, it's very simple. It includes all the investments coming into India, getting out of India. Foreign investments. Okay. Coming into India plus, getting out of India minus. Then it includes all the borrowings. Market borrowings, IMF borrowings, World Bank borrowings, everything is included. Money, if India is borrowing money, plus because money is coming into India, when India has to pay back that money, negative. Right? And it also includes NRI deposits. Many NRIs, non-resident Indians, deposit their money in Indian banks. That is also money coming into India from abroad because these NRIs are earning money in dollars or any other foreign currency. So this is also positive, and when it gets out, negative. So overall, there is capital account surplus and capital account deficit. Now, generally, India runs a capital account surplus. Now, the question is, whenever balancing both current account and capital account, if in the overall balance of payment, net inflow is there of money, balance of payment surplus. If there is net outflow, balance of payment deficit. And when there is balance of payment surplus, balancing both current account and capital account, include everything, then your forex reserves increase. And when there is a balance of payment deficit, forex reserve, foreign currency reserves, they decline. Clear? Now you have these basics now. You get this clarity. Now the chapter would be more easy for you. Okay, easier for you. Generally, it is India's aim to improve its balance of payment surplus, to reduce its current account deficit, to increase its capital account surplus as much as possible. So overall, we need balance of payment surplus because it has an added benefit. There is net inflow of money, which is good for India. There is also accretion of forex reserve, which India needs. Okay, foreign currency assets. Make sense? Simple. Now the chapter would seem easy for you. Okay. Had you not known these facts, if you were, I'm already hoping that you were already aware of these facts. But if you were unaware of these facts, well, now you know. Now the chapter would be easy for you. So the chapter says that overall India's balance of payment situation seems very good. Now, why? The reason is, well, India recorded record total exports. Now you know that in trade balance, exports is a plus sign. Services trade surplus, record. Remittances, record. Okay, remittances actually exceeded FDI also. We get a lot of money through foreign direct investment, but this time around, we received more money from remittances. There are so many Indians out there and they are sending money back home. Good news for us. Now, all of these factors have contributed towards accretion of or leading to balance of payment surplus. Because of this balance of payment surplus, well, our forex reserves look comfortable. Now, basically, there is a way to judge how comfortable are your forex reserves, okay? And the metric is import cover. So let's suppose India has $100 billion of forex reserves. That's actually not true. It's around 800 billion or 900, okay? But let's suppose India has $100 billion of forex reserve. Now, import cover says that how much forex reserves you have, which will cover your total imports for a particular time. So India's import cover is said to be 11 months, which means that India has enough forex reserves that it can finance its imports for 11 months. If nothing is coming to India, still India can survive for 11 months because we have enough forex reserves. We can import for 11 months. This is what an import cover is, and it's a very good number, 11 months, almost a year. Okay? Now, the reason why we have a good balance of payment surplus because merchandise trade deficit declined and services surplus, remittances, they increased, which overall improves your current account deficit. Yes? Next. End of hyper-globalization. Now, this is the sad part. This is basically contributing to, well, uncertainty, global uncertainty. Okay? Globally, uncertainty exists. Now, this global uncertainty actually harms India's position, external position. Why? Because if globally Donald Trump is going to apply tariffs, and the world is not globalized, then exports would decline, foreign direct investment coming to India would decline, all of these things would happen. So global uncertainty is not good for India, not good for anyone, because exports decline, FDI declines, overall the situation becomes bad. Yes, simple. But this economic survey says that despite the end of hyper-globalization, despite the rise in global uncertainty, India's position is fair. Okay? This is Trade Policy Uncertainty Index. It is at an all-time high. Global Economic Policy Uncertainty Index. It is also at an all-time high. Overall, countries are now moving away from globalization. They are moving towards friendshoring. That means getting their goods from their allies rather than China. Okay? Nearshoring, close to their home. Neighbors, they are trading more with their neighbors. Fragmentation. Now, open free trade policy has declined, which does harm exports and FDI. But for India, things appear good. Okay. Now, merchandise dynamics. Okay. So now you need to understand India's import-export of merchandise. So as you can see, these are the drags. What do you mean by drags? Well, these increase our merchandise trade deficit. Why? Because we import these items. Petroleum products, we import petroleum. Gems and jewelry, India has a huge hunger for gold, gems, jewelry, right? So these are the drags on our merchandise trade deficit. Okay, we import a lot of these items. But there are two things, or basically three things, because of which our exports have also risen and they have bridged the gap, or they have compensated with for these extra imports. And what are these drivers? Electronics exports have increased. Telecom instrument imports. Earlier we used to import a lot of telecom instruments. That has declined and we are now exporting. Plus drugs and biologicals, pharma sector. This has helped us. Its imports have declined, exports have boosted. But these are still the drags. Okay, they are pushing our trade deficit. Okay, yes, this is one good thing about India, and that is services sector. Okay, services sector, India exports a lot of services. Now the thing was, earlier India is a net exporter. Earlier we used to rely more on traditional call centers. So foreign companies used to establish their call centers in India, so our people were giving call center services, so that was a services export. So earlier we were providing basic services. If we talk about IT, okay, so this was the mainstay. Because of this, our services exports basically were there. But now we have not just improved on the quantity of services, we have also improved on quality. Now instead of providing basic call center services, we are exporting AI skills also. There are so many skilled professionals in India which basically export AI services. And many foreign companies, many big companies like Amazon, Google, Facebook, they are very much attracted by India's local talent. That is why they are establishing global capability centers in India. In these global capability centers, they hire highly skilled tech professionals from India, within India. They don't need to come to USA. So these global capability centers have mushroomed, their growth has increased. So because of GCCs, AI and high value consulting jobs, these Deloitte people, McKinsey people, because of these, our services exports are not only high, they are of high quality as well. And what happens with high quality services? You can charge a premium. Your price goes high. Your services price goes high. So more money would come to India because India is exporting high value services which fetch a good price. You understand the point, right? So this is the situation with services. And yes, because of global uncertainty, there was some problem with our exports, especially USA with Trump's tariff policy. So this tariff policy from USA, this action from USA, basically somehow was bad. No doubt it was bad. But every bad thing has some hidden good thing also. And the good thing is, India was earlier very much reliant on US markets. But because of that, India decided to diversify, to look for other markets. And that happened. We increased our exports to UAE, Netherlands, Southeast Asia, and USA's share has declined in case of jewelry and textile exports. Okay, so we are capturing other markets as well. So this bad tariff policy by Donald Trump has given us one good thing, and that is we have diversified. There are other things as well. Okay, all right. Next. Well, if India wants to improve its current account, okay, there are two strategies for this. Focus on trade deficit. Reduce your imports, increase your exports. Simple. Then only current account deficit would be in a comfortable situation. Now, one strategy of reducing your imports is that instead of importing anything, manufacture that thing in India only. That is known as import substitution. Now, in case of telecom products, telecom hardware, India has successfully done import substitution. I mean, the import substitution was successfully implemented in telecom sector. So we have somehow managed to reduce our imports. Plus, our exports have increased because government launched production linked incentive scheme in manufacturing sector. This led to many industrial units increase their production. We'll talk about TLI scheme in the chapter of industry. Okay, but these schemes covering many sectors, it actually helped improve our production. Now, when you improve your domestic production, you don't need to import that much. Okay, and if you are producing way more that you don't have to import, if your surplus is too high, then you can even export, bridging this current account deficit. And PLI scheme managed just that. Okay, there was high growth in IT hardware, batteries, electronics sector. Okay, because PLI scheme was successful over here. Yes, PLI scheme was not that successful in pharma, textiles, auto, but not that. There was moderate growth, but high growth in these areas, which were those sectors in which we were import dependent. Now we're producing a lot, even exporting. You understand? Okay. Next. Yes, it says agriculture or agri exports is also a good opportunity. Okay, it is an opportunity which India has failed to materialize. Now, why is this an opportunity? If we talk about agricultural production, India ranks number 2. But if we talk about agricultural exports, well, our export share is just 2.2%. Now, why is this bad? Well, the thing is, we are producing too much, but we are also consuming too much. You understand? So, India is number 2 producer in the world, but it is not getting translated into exports also. So we have a huge opportunity. That opportunity is that we produce a lot of agricultural products, but we have not established good agricultural export infrastructure. So we need to focus on this. Okay. Now it's because India consumes a lot of agricultural products, but partly it's because of bad policy. Okay. Policy volatility, government flip-flops, government changes policies overnight after every 2 months, all these things. So the solution is, and the reason why government changes its policy is because the primary goal of the government when it comes to agricultural sector is food security. And because of that, India doesn't allow that much exports. It is by design, but we need to decouple the two. Manage food security and exports separately. Okay? Because if you will manage export policy separately, then you'll focus more on it. You understand the point? So this is the prescription that economic survey has given to the government, that follow this strategy, we will improve our exports, we will also take care of food security. Win-win situation. So do that. Okay. Next. Yes, case study. Basically, you don't just read it through the notes, it's not that important, but it says that the way India took the opportunity of WTO TRIPS agreement and WTO basically harmed our pharma sector, but our pharma sector took this opportunity to diversify and improve its pharma products. And now India's pharma sector is very big. Okay. Similarly, we should take this Donald Trump's tariff policy as an opportunity. Basically, this is the case study. It's not that important. Okay. Important for mains, but we are right now focusing on prelims. Okay. Yes, remittances have improved. Okay. We have talked about this. But one thing you need to know, first of all, remittances are more than FDI. Generally, FDI is high, okay? Big multinational companies investing in India. But remittances have been high. And the other thing you need to know about remittances is that earlier most of the remittances used to come from Gulf countries because there were so many Indians working in Gulf countries. But now there are so many Indians working in Western developed countries, okay? And they are in highly skilled jobs. So Gulf country workers were in menial jobs. So they weren't sending that much money per person. But these people, these IT experts, India's top-notch people, H-1B visa people, they are sending a lot of money because they earn a lot of money, right, in dollars. So this says that now remittances are coming from low-skilled job countries to high-skilled job countries. Most of the remittances are coming from USA. And yes, UAE still is number 2, but at one point of time, UAE was number 1 and UK. So not only our remittances have increased, well, the people, we are also getting high quality remittances from people who are in high income brackets. Okay, you understand? Next. FDI bucking the global downturn. Yes, because of global uncertainty, FDI declined all over the world. Okay, globally FDI declined, but for India, somehow FDI increased. Yet, yes, in the previous year, it also fell, but it somehow managed to stay in the comfortable levels. So India, while the rest of the world is struggling because they are not getting enough FDI, India is still getting respectable FDI. We won't say good FDI, but respectable FDI. Okay, so this is there. Greenfield investments basically means companies coming to India to establish a business from scratch. Okay, and mostly in digital and AI sectors. We are getting a lot of FDI in digital and AI sectors. Okay. Yes, then there are a few things. Inward FDI has increased, but there is one more thing. First of all, the reason why FDI in India has increased is because Indian markets offer high yield, high return on investment. So this is there. Plus, one good thing is there that Indian economy has now matured. You see, what is the difference between developing and developed economies? and developed? Well, developed economies have rich people. Okay, so it doesn't receive that much FDI as these rich people are investing outside their country. So there is outward movement of FDI from developed countries because it is full of rich people like USA. US people, American people are investing all over the world. So there is outward investment. That is a sign of developed country. Developing countries definitely receive foreigners' money. Yes. Now, India was one such country which received a lot of FDI. But nowadays, Indian companies are also investing globally. So there is an increase in outward FDI as well, which shows the sign of India transitioning towards Vikasit Bharat. What was Vikasit Bharat? 2047, the goal. This is a good sign that now there are enough rich Indians who are now acquiring global assets. Okay, so they are sending money outside. That means they have a lot of money. Good sign. Mature economy. You understand the point? Okay. Yes, this is that India, as far as the global trade is concerned, well, India is improving. There is an overall improvement, and that is because of government's policy. And government has become more of a facilitator. So regulations are light, but they are still there. Okay, so that you do not harm ease of doing business. Prime Minister level monitoring through various dashboards using tech initiatives. Prime Minister offices directly monitoring these projects. Okay, and you have basically various digital infrastructure in place so that it becomes easy to implement a project. Plug and play infrastructure. Okay, so in logistics sector, India's rank has improved. Logistics performance index. Logistics sector is the sector that takes care of taking the good from factory to you, the consumer. So it involves transportation, storage, warehousing, everything. So this has also improved. Okay. And the last part is overall, India should seize this opportunity. We are at a comfortable position, but we shouldn't be satisfied with being comfortable. There is an opportunity that we can just skyrocket or we can take off. Okay. Now, what are these opportunities? In trade, move up the complexity ladder, especially in electronics and pharma. So export pharma and electronics products, but export complicated high-tech products, not simple medicine, simple circuits. So climb up the complexity ladder or complex products. What Taiwan is doing, manufacturing semiconductor chips. Okay. Then capital, get more and more FDI, improve your sovereign credit rating so you get more and more foreign investment. And policy. You see, the world wants to break away from China in a sense that China is the supplier of the world, the factory of the world. Everyone is buying something or the other from China. But people don't want to completely rely on China. And by people, I mean countries. So there was this popular strategy called China plus one strategy, which means apart from China, we need to make some other country as our supplier, as our factory. And India can fill in that role. So India needs to capitalize on this, because if everyone starts buying from India and drop China, well, India's growth would skyrocket like anything. But for that to happen, we need to induce trust in our Indian economic system. And that would happen, well, if we have good policies in place, infrastructure in place. So this is an opportunity because the world wants to decouple from China. So present yourself as an opportunity. Already we are lagging behind because many other countries like Vietnam, Southeast Asian countries, Malaysia have presented themselves as an opportunity, and companies are shifting towards these countries, decoupling from China. India needs to grab this opportunity with both hands. Make sense? Okay, simple. So that would be all. With that, we conclude today's session. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure about it that it has added value to your preparation, provided you do two more things. Number one, memorize whatever we have discussed from the notes provided by us. And number two, ask your doubts. You have been enrolled. All my Powerplay students have been enrolled in these WhatsApp groups. Ask your doubts. Prelims is fast approaching. So ask your doubts or any other problem. All right? Okay then. With that, we conclude today's session. So that would be all, everyone. And I promise you to see you next time for chapter number 5. Thank you so much, everyone.